Please state your name and the subject of your experience.
Into that? You're joking.
I can assure you this will record just fine.
I knew you guys were a bit slapdash, but this is absurd. Who cares about evidence? Who cares about scientific instruments when you can just tell a story to the Magnus Institute?
And yet, you've come to make a statement.
Well, yeah, but...
Let me guess. None of your respectable paranormal investigators would believe you. Well, let me be quite clear. Chances are very strong that I won't believe you either. But we will take your statement, and we will look into it for you. Now, please state your name and the subject of your experience.
My name is Jonathan Sims. I work for the Magnus Institute, London, an organisation dedicated to academic research into the esoteric and the paranormal. The head of the institute, Mr. Elias Bouchard, has employed me to replace the previous head archivist, one Gertrude Robinson, who has recently passed away. The institute was founded in 1818, which means that the archive contains almost 200 years of case files at this point. From where I am sitting, I can see thousands of files, many spread loosely around the place, others crushed into unmarked boxes. It is going to take me a long time to organize this mess. I've managed to secure the services of 2 researchers to assist me. Well, technically 3, but I don't count Martin, as he's unlikely to contribute anything but delays. I plan to digitize the files as much as possible and record audio versions, though some will have to be on tape recorder, as my attempts to get them on my laptop have met with significant audio distortions. Alongside this, Tim, Sasha, and, yes, I suppose Martin, will be doing some supplementary investigation to see what details may be missing from what we have. I can unfortunately promise no order in regards to date or theme of the statements that are recorded, and can only apologize to any future researcher attempting to use these files for their own investigations. I've been working the shipping routes for years now, so I know there's plenty of messed up things can happen out there. You remember the old saying, worse things happen at sea? Well, let me tell you, it's just as true now as it ever was. But I've never seen weird like I saw when serving on the tundra. One day, I returned home to find my father staring through the blinds in terror. He claimed that someone was following him, told me that they were planning to stop his work. I asked him who it was, but he shook his head violently and said I'd know him when I saw him, because all the bones are in his hands. Tim actually managed to find a copy of Mr. Romeo's marriage license. It exists, is signed, dated, and official, and half of it is blank. Only Mr. Romeo's details are on the document, and if it wasn't for the context of this statement, it would appear he was married to nobody. But he was married. I'd taken my gloves off at that point, and my hand came away wet. I quickly fumbled for the torch I had snatched before heading out and turned it on. Red dripped and pulsed from the card, soaking the pages and forming a small pool around it. The books were bleeding. Instead of going outside, he walked over to the kitchen sink and turned on one of the taps. Immediately there began to flow a dark, dirty-looking liquid, and the sick, salty smell of brackish water hit my nose. The light in the kitchen blew out at that moment, and the room got very dark. Coroner's report lists asphyxiation as the cause of death, probably due to choking, though it doesn't say what he choked on. Simply lists foreign organic material blocking his throat. If I were of a more alarmist nature, I might think the appearance of Mr. Vittery's corpse lent some credibility to his tale. But as I told Martin earlier, he was there for over a week, so there is very likely a perfectly natural explanation for the fact that his body was completely encased in web.
It was a small, unremarkable door, painted dark yellow with a matte black handle, and it wasn't there before. I'd been up on that landing dozens of times already, and I definitely did not remember it being there. It wasn't just that I hadn't noticed it. You have to understand that. It wasn't there. It couldn't have been there. It was an exterior wall on the second floor. There can't have been anything beyond it but empty air and a significant drop.
Statement of Joe Spooky regarding sinister happenings in the downtown.
Tim, look out!
Sasha?
Behind you, run!
Oh.
Do you hear the sob?
Tim!
Sometimes not being able to see something is actually quite a good thing.
The Magnus Institute is not what it appears to be, and until I know what it is, and what it's for, there's no way I'm letting Elias know how much I'm aware of. The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed by rustyquill.com and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike International license.